Section 3. You will hear a conversation between two students, James and Kate, talking about their studies and part-time jobs. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Kate, I'm really busy at the moment trying to manage both my schoolwork and part-time job.
Oh, James, that sounds like a lot to handle. Where do you work?
I managed to get a job working in the local bakery, learning how to make bread and cakes. Since I'm studying business, it's really useful to experience at first hand how a shop is run and interact with the customers.
Wow, it sounds really interesting. I'd love to come in and try the produce one day. Is it nearby?
It's about 15 minutes away, which is frustrating because it's too far to walk from my house and I have to drive there. Despite the commute, my tutor recommended it to me as it's renowned in certain circles for being a very well-run and successful business.
Is it a part of the Kingfisher Bakers chain?
No, it's an independent family-run store, which is good because they're really supportive and eager to help me with the information I need.
How do you find the theoretical aspect of the schoolwork?
I find the practical work far more interesting, but my tutors are really enthusiastic and I get on well with my classmates, which makes the lessons a lot more enjoyable. Also, I recently found out that I can complete the theoretical aspects of the course within 1 year because of the practical experience I'm getting.
Wow, that's great.
I know, I was so relieved. I find the theory pretty hard to understand, so I was really worried about taking it for another year.
Do you get assessed every term or just once at the end of each academic year?
No, there's an assessment every term, which is great because it really takes the pressure off. In the first term, it's really relaxed. You conduct your own experiments on your topic of choice, and then everyone in your class assesses each other as a practical exercise. It's just a shame that practical experience doesn't count towards the grades.
Yes, that's true.
Anyway, enough about me. What are you studying?
Oh, I'm not sure what I want to study yet, but I've been making enquiries about the English language course.
Do you know what career path you're interested in following?
Since Spanish is my first language, I thought that studying English would be really beneficial if I decided to apply for a job in England. I really enjoy art, and I'm very creative, but I don't think that becoming an artist is a very practical choice. I was thinking of using my passion for art in a different way, like working as a curator in an art exhibition, for example.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. I think you'd be good at that.
The problem is that the course is very expensive, as you have to buy materials yourself, and they don't offer any scholarships to cover expenses. I need to order a catalog of the courses on offer so I can see if there are any other modules that might perhaps be cheaper to study.
Luckily, the courses don't start until September, so at least you have plenty of time to get organised.
I can't believe I have to wait until September. I'm already so excited about starting.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
What other art-focused modules could you choose from?
History of art is my first choice, since there isn't so much expense involved. I think it would be really interesting as they invite a number of guest lecturers from across the globe to speak on specialist subjects.
That sounds great. What about sculpture?
Well, sculpture looked like a really suitable option at first, since it's the easiest course. But again, the utensils and materials aren't provided, so you have to spend a lot of money on supplies. I'm also considering the option of digital painting. There isn't much reading involved, and the accommodation is located inside the studio, so you would never have to worry about commuting.
Commuting is such an inconvenience, so that's definitely a big advantage. What do you think of art theory?
That's definitely an option for me. There are no exams, as you get assessed on your coursework and research is conducted independently, so you can work from home, which is really convenient. The only other option is photography, but I'm not so keen on that.
Why not?
I've just never really been interested in it, and I see it more as a medium for documentation rather than an art form. You're also required to buy one of those really expensive cameras with a digital display and micro-focus capabilities, which I can't afford.
Well, let me know what course you decide on.
I will. Thanks for talking it over with me.
No problem. See you later.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4.
Part 3.
You will hear 2 science lecturers discussing space exploration. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
Hello, John. How was your conference on space travel?
Hi, Susan. It was great. We heard some fascinating speakers, especially one fellow who was an expert on Mars. He thinks it's quite feasible for humans to live there in the near future.
Well, if we spent the billions of dollars that go into space research on looking after our own planet, then perhaps we wouldn't need to worry about the Earth being uninhabitable in 100 years' time. Nor would we need to look for another planet to colonise.
Yes, but there are some important things that space exploration can teach us, especially about the history of our own planet and its atmosphere. That sort of knowledge could help us solve some of the problems that threaten our planet.
Still, I don't really see why they have to send astronauts into space. Robotics is so much more advanced now. Why can't they simply send robots?
Well, robotics has come a long way, and it is more expensive to send a manned spaceship into orbit. But the biggest problem with robots is that they have to be programmed for every possible eventuality.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Robots just can't react to situations independently the way that humans do. They still need us to tell them what to do.
That's right. Robots may have come a long way, but if you're going to go to all the expense of building one, you really need to make sure it's going to work when it gets there, and they don't tend to take risks with new and untested technology. What if it lets you down? So instead, a lot of the space technology nowadays is actually based on the technology they used in the 1970s, because we know that it works and it's reliable.
So, do you think it will ever be possible to send robots to Mars?
I'm not sure. One of the speakers spoke about that, and he says that communication would be a problem.
Is that because of the conditions? I mean, those extremes of temperature and even the atmosphere itself would probably create an awful lot of interference.
Yes, but they're both issues that can be dealt with. No, the real problem is simply how far away it is. That would cause long delays before the robots received any messages about what to do next. So, for the moment, they don't think it's feasible.
That makes sense.
Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
But tell me, do you really think we should be contemplating sending humans to Mars at all? Don't you think we should wait until we do have the technology?
Well, many years ago, the civilizations that built the pyramids or that began building enormous cathedrals must have started the project never expecting to see it finished. I think we should take the same approach and start our preparations now.
That's an interesting point, though I'm still not convinced. Surely you don't foresee a time when humans will be living on Mars? That's just science fiction, isn't it?
Not at all. I think there is a distinct possibility that humans will live there.
But what about the conditions there? Even the dirt on the ground could kill us.
Yes, I agree with you there, but we can easily build a self-contained structure there so people don't need to go outside.
I suppose the ground does also contain a lot of resources, so getting metals wouldn't be a problem.
That's right. A lot of building materials could be found there, but there are still many risks involved.
Yes, what about radiation? I don't think there will ever be a way to shield us totally from cosmic radiation, even inside a spaceship.
I can't agree with you there. Astronauts have been travelling in space for a long time now, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem for us.
I just don't think we have enough experience of living in space long term.
But you have to accept that it is within the realms of possibility that one day there will be a Martian space station.
Well, I have every faith in science, and Mars does seem to be the next frontier. So, yes, I imagine we will eventually send a space mission there. But I can't see people living there.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3.